Good afternoon, everyone. So think about this. When it comes to the way we work, there's no going back. And I meet companies all over the world, and for some reason, we figure that there's a way that we can go back to the way it was. But today, there's really no going back. I want you to read this next slide carefully, and I want you to read it twice. I want you to read it once as yourself, and then I want you to read it once as everyone who works for you, okay? The employees that are coming back are not the same employees that we sent home 3 years ago. Okay, think about this. I want everybody to raise their hand, be truthful. Are you that same person, that same type of employee pre-pandemic as you are now, or different? Who's different? Now think about your employees. Have they changed? Have they changed the way they look at work? Have they changed their different work styles? Right? Who believes that? Okay, now let's see what you're doing to help them. Okay, so let's talk about knowledge workers. Well, we all know that there's frontline workers, and please, everybody who has frontline workers, thank you. You kept us in food, education, emergencies. Think about your knowledge workers. I'm a knowledge worker. I went home, and everybody sent us home, and they thought it was going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But when I went home, my company sent me home with a 24-inch monitor and a laptop. I don't know what they expected me to do with that at home, but what I did was I changed how I work. That was the first thing I did. How many people upgraded their home offices during the pandemic? Yeah, you know what I did? I bought a 36-inch curve. And then I found out through Amazon, I could get the second one 40% off. Now there's two. Right? And here's what I figured out. I love working with more screen real estate because, well, applications don't talk to each other, and it makes it easier for me. This was actually version 1 of my home office. And so what I did is I figured out how I want to work. But when I go back into that office at Zoom, what's waiting for me? That 24-inch monitor. Second thing, here's what I also learned. How many hours in a day? 24. You know what I learned? I don't do my best between 9 and 5. I learned that there are 24 hours in a day, and I can work differently. If you send me a mail during the day and you want a yes-no answer, I'll give that to you. But if you want a thoughtful answer, if you want an answer that requires me to think, that's 10 o'clock at night for me. That's a cup of coffee. That's when the world stops and I don't have to answer you in between chats and phone calls and interruptions and family and children and things like that. So for me, I found I do my better work later at night. How many people are late night workers? Okay, I also found out, does where matter? I don't know. Does where really matter? Has every one of you figured out the place that you are the most productive? And if so, is that place the office? And so today, we have to keep asking ourselves, does where matter? Okay, at the beginning of the pandemic, we called this moving forward. We all thought we were clever, and we all thought we changed the way we work. What did we change? You know the string between the two cans? All my technology people, remember it's two cans with a string? We made the string a little longer, and people could work from anywhere. But we really didn't change the way they work. We just changed physically where they worked. And this was really the year, I call this the year of the CIO. Right, for the CIOs out there, money was in abundance. Whatever you need, just keep people connected. Okay, but now we move forward in the pandemic, and now we decided to bring this hybrid working. And I call this the year of the CFO. Remember that year? Why are you spending so much money? Why do we have all this empty real estate? How do we bring people back into the office? Complete opposite of what we were doing. I call this the year of the CFO. And remember, we had all of these great new terms. We had quiet quitting. We had quiet hiring. I just want to focus on two. Proximity bias and 90-day rule. Do you know that the number of employees, new employees, that quit their job within 90 days is at the highest it's ever been since 2008 globally? And the reason most people ask is because when I started the job, they weren't fairly accurate about what they expected of the job of me, and it took me 90 days to figure out, and it took me 90 days to retire. You know, I did a Gen Z seminar a couple weeks ago, and the person who represented Gen Zs came on the stage and said that they quit their first 2 professional jobs within 2 weeks. Because she said basically the company had lied to her and had not fairly told her what the job was going to be. Here's the next one, proximity bias. We know what this is from before. It had to do with, we always look at people who are around us and we might give them another advantage, okay? But I'm going to introduce a new proximity bias. I'm an East Coast worker. I work for a West Coast company. There's a 3-hour time zone difference. That means most of my day with my parent company starts at 12. Okay, here's what happened the other day. We're having a huge meeting to make a major decision. Okay, and it's going to be at 12 o'clock. 10 to 12, I'm all ready, got the coffee, ready to go online, and I get a chat. You know what the chat says? Hey, you know, a bunch of us were in the coffee room this morning in person. We made the decision. We don't need your help anymore. See you later. Bye. We canceled the meeting. Is that proximity bias? It is in a way, because now the people who are outside the room aren't getting fair time inside the room. And so those are the 2 I wanted to highlight. Okay, but today it's about our best asset is employees. How are we going to empower our people to do their best? The future of work is now. I attend future of work seminars almost every day of my life. I don't know what we're waiting for, but the future of work is now. It's experience-based. Who wants a better experience at work, in the office? Who thinks their clients want a better experience? So now you got the employees that want a better experience, and you got the clients you're servicing that want a better experience. The future of work is clearly based on who's going to deliver the better experience. Okay, but let's focus on employees. And there's several things we need to do for employees, but I picked 3 out of here real quick. Communicate expectations. I'm going to give you a quick scenario. Ready? The boss tells their employees they need to build 4 widgets a week. Okay, 4 widgets a week. Ready? What happens when you have an employee that builds all 4 by Tuesday night? Do you expect them to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Now remember, you communicated the expectation. So this is what we're getting wrong. Clear boundaries. You know, when I met Eric 4 years ago, he said to me, Gary, you live on the East Coast. I live on the West Coast. I'm a late night worker. If I put a chat out there at midnight, my time, I do not expect you to answer it until it's convenient for you. He set clear boundaries. And then the last thing is foster a culture of inclusion. Remember my scenario about being left out of that meeting? Were they inclusive of me? So I pulled 3 out of here that I want you to think about every single day. I'm going to come up with a couple of challenges for everybody. Okay, look at this number. I want everybody to be the CEO of your company. I want you to take the total headcount in your company and I want you to multiply it by 70%. This is an Amazon statistic, actually. 70% feel unprepared for the future of work. Now me, that's a big number, so I had to double click into that number. Here's what that number meant. I'm not unprepared to do my job. I'm unprepared to collaborate in a new way. 5 generations of people working at the same time. I'm clearly a boomer. You know how I get a hold of people? I call them. You know what happens at Zoom? I get declined, and then I get a little chat, and it says, can't we handle this over chat? Well, wait a second, I called you, I'm the boss, right? Many people are working different ways, but what are we doing to make sure that our employees understand this, right? We just can't bring them into the office and say, wander around and figure it out. Okay, so here's my 6 challenges. Number 1, upskill your employees. Now, why didn't I use the word train? I'll tell you why. Training means training them to do their job. They know how to do their job. If they're a coder, they know how to code. If they're a finance person, they know how to do finances. If they're a salesperson, they know how to sell. What they don't know how to do is collaborate in the new world. Remember, 27% of your staff in 2025 will be Gen Z. Who understands Gen Zs? Please, no one raise your hand. Right? Because I think they're still trying to figure out. I do a lot of Gen Z studies. I've learned so many things. But what I have learned is it's not only the Gen Zs, it's me. I'm a boomer. You know what I learned? Chat works. Asynchronous works. I'm working more like a millennial or a Gen Z than I am like a boomer. I don't call people anymore. I chat them first. You know why? I get better results. So where do you put me? Do you treat me like a boomer and expect me to call you? Or do you treat me like a Gen Z and expect me to work asynchronous? And I work across the whole spectrum. So imagine this. If you upskilled your employees, wouldn't it be great if you can, spelled wrong, evolve human potential? If you could evolve the human potential in your company, how much better off would you be? Here's my second challenge. Provide them a platform for productivity. Most of us, what's the greatest tool we tell our employees to use? Cut and paste. You know what cut and paste means? It means they're stuck moving data from one application to the other. Because our applications, the average global user looks at 266 applications every day. Yet, we have to provide them with that platform. I need to be productive while I'm on stage with you, while I'm sitting in the hotel, while I'm in the plane, while I'm home, while I'm earn your employees' commute. How many people have people back in the office because you sent them an email and said, hey, why don't you come back 3 days a week? And you didn't really say, hey, right? We call that a mandate. The other side of the coin is, some places around the globe, it's a magnet. The employees get up in the morning and they go, I want to go there. But think about it. Are you building a modern worker? A new worker in the age of after pandemic? Are you trying to get your modern worker to work in an older workplace? You know, I love going to companies that are opening up. And I sit there the first day with them, and I like to interview people. And I interviewed a bunch of their younger staff, and I said, how was your first day? And they said, well, I've been working 12 hours a day from home. I walked into this conference room. Do you need to tell the boss that that conference room from 2019 got older even though we're not here? And if he really needs it, I have better equipment home. I'll bring in the equipment from home to help out my company. Earn your employees' commute. Figure out what they need so they get up in the morning and with energy, they say, I need to go there. Imagine this. Make the office a destination for collaboration. One of the largest accounting firms in the world, Deloitte, you know what their slogan is? Don't commute to compute. What that means is, if you're not coming in to collaborate and you're going to be on, let's just say, 8 Zoom calls a day, don't come here because we collaborate here. If you're going to be on 8 Zoom calls a day, stay home. Work from somewhere else. My next challenge, focus on total experience. Think about this. Before the pandemic, who was worried about the employee experience? HR. Who was worried about the customer experience? Sales and marketing. Did they talk? So we had well, I'm not going to say a great, but we did have an employee experience here, and we had a customer experience here, and they never met. And so today, it really is about total experience. I'm going to give you a quick example. Okay, so it's hot here one day. It gets hot here, right? It's hot here one day. You're driving down the street and you see a drive-through coffee shop. You say, I want that nitro brew. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You pull into the drive-through. There's a car in front of you. Now there's a car behind you. And you order that iced coffee. 25 minutes you're waiting in line for that iced coffee. Now, when that window opens, what do you say? That you can say in this room. You're very angry, okay? What happens if that window opens and that person picks up the coffee. Now remember, your name's on the side. And he or she says, Gary, you've been in line 25 minutes. This coffee's on us. How do you feel? Do you say thank you? Okay, here's the test. Ready? Hands up. Employee experience. Who felt that was an employee experience? Okay. Who thought it was a customer experience? What variable didn't I give you? It was both. See, it was the total experience. They thought about it from the customer ordering, through the employee process, through the customer receiving the drink. And what they did was they thought about it together. See, it was the entire journey that was important. Imagine that the employee said, I have to go ask my manager. That would have been a bad experience for both. So today, empower your employees to deliver customer delight. I have to tell you, think about this. Who knows more about what your customers need? Management or your employees? It's your employees, the people who are talking to them every single day. Here's my next challenge. Invest in AI. Look, we're all talking about AI. But today, remember, as we were coming through, we were always talking about smarter, not harder. I don't really think we knew what that meant. We were just telling them to work smarter and not harder. But today, every generation wants to give up the mundane, right? Why do we take notes in meetings? Why don't the meeting take notes? Why don't we give them the tools and solutions to make them a little better? Do you know the average PowerPoint slide, like this, about 10 to 15% of the time is developing content, and about 80 to 85% of the time is to make it look good so you enjoy seeing it? Why are you watching a presentation where I only spent 10 to 15% of the time on the content? And so really today, it's about intelligent working. Let's forget smarter, not harder. Why aren't we creating more intelligent workers? If we really want the modern worker, and we're going to really give them a modern workplace, don't you think we should also make them intelligent workers? Here's one of my last ones. So integrating business apps. Everybody know what Toggle Tax is? Toggle Tax? Anybody know what Toggle Tax is? All right, Toggle Tax. The average employee globally switches applications 1,100 times a day. 1,100 times a day, they go from mail to PowerPoint to this, to that, to this, to that, to this, to that. It wastes 1.25 hours per production per day. Imagine if we could integrate those applications. Imagine if when you actually got to CRM, you didn't have to cut and paste that phone number into a dialer, that there was a little underline. So our goal here is take the mundane out, figure out how to integrate your applications together, and let's reduce this toggle tax. Let's take that time. What I tell all leaders is this: if you think you have a good desktop and a good complement of applications, write down what you do one day, and then take your laptop and go on a plane and reproduce that day. And you're on a plane, you have to go from PowerPoint to email to Excel to chat to this. You're going to say, wait a second, we have a toggle tax problem. And that's what this is about. All right, I'm sorry, but you have to have a selfish Zoom slide. And this is how Zoom is looking at the world. We've changed our vision. One of our vision now is, it's about the employee experience and it's about the customer experience all on the same platform. It's about finding the tools and solutions in the middle, and they should be the same, whether it's an employee using it or a customer using it. It's also about making sure that AI works throughout the whole journey. It shouldn't work through part of the journey. It should work throughout the whole journey. And then it's about finding that right platform that integrates. So we have a developer ecosystem. Most people don't even know we have that. But imagine this. We're okay with your bringing your applications into us. We're also okay with you bringing Zoom into your applications. Help get rid of that toggle tax. Thank you so very much.